Nikola Jokic, the current NBA MVP, has developed a reputation as a player uninterested in front office negotiations. In his mind, basketball is simple: show up, dominate, and head home to his family and horses. But this summer turned out to be different from all others in his long career. For the first time, Jokic made a player request of the Nuggets front office. And his choice? Russell Westbrook. At first glance, the decision left many scratching their heads. Why would Jokic, one of the most efficient and cerebral players in the NBA, advocate for Westbrook, whose polarizing style and declining athleticism have been hotly debated for years? Even at Media Day, Jokic stood behind the 36-year-old former MVP. "I know who Russ is, not just on the court, but off it," Jokic said. "We didn't always get along during games. We fought, we talked back and forth, but he's a great teammate. His leadership, his energy, his work ethic, all of it, he's going to bring a lot of good things to this team." It's rare to hear Jokic speak with such conviction about any player. So what exactly did he see in Westbrook that so many others had overlooked? So as in-depth, having to travel through the entire history of skepticism around Russell, one must see through the very recent travel of his career. Much earlier, when it started, it was as if his career were meant to fly straight on to the Hall of Fame. A player greater than the mere game, he was all of a sudden a phenomenon. A one-man wrecking crew with explosive skill, speed, athleticism, penetrating drive with nothing really unstoppable by opponents. He was MVP at his best, a triple-double machine whose legacy will be that of one of the most dynamic ballers ever to step on a court. But the passing of time can be cruel to even the best athletes. As Westbrook grew older, so did his game, deteriorating from being dominant. His once screaming speed began to lose a little of its relentless nature, and he grew much more inconsistent in his ability to finish at the rim, which had been his trademark. Even his already not too good three-point shooting fell a notch or two down to below 30%. In a league more and more based on perimeter efficacy, that's just going to become a huge albatross around his neck. The last and most worrying thing was his style of play. For Westbrook, the game really is built on having the ball in his hands, changing the tempo of the game, and then attacking the defense on his terms. This approach, which essentially comes down to ball dominance, makes sense while one is the center of a team's offense. But if he keeps transitioning to teams with other stars, he is bound to fail because his improvisation on the floor will sometimes hinder fluidity in off-ball movement. It has become increasingly clear that chemistry issues are bound to arise. What once made him a star in any system now becomes a liability under certain systems. His struggles escalated during an immensely distressing period with the Los Angeles Lakers after being cast as the third star joining LeBron James and Anthony Davis, supposed to lift the franchise into serious championship contention, which did not even feel right from the very beginning of his joining. He did not stretch the floor nor play a lesser role as a part of the offense, thus became very easily a target of criticism. Night after night, Westbrook became the scapegoat for the Lakers' failures. Analysts on television and media were merciless in their criticism by saying that he was washed and doubting his credibilities in playing in the NBA circuit. Further, the viral nature of his turning the ball over or missing shots into positive contributions that he still made, overshadowed by this. Fans also turned on him, and jeering would fill the arena on home games. It was a humbling time in life for someone who was once glorified as one of the most electrifying stars in the league. Now that he was out of the Lakers, he had found a sliver of redeeming light with the Clippers, but there were still lingering questions regarding his long-term prospects. During his short stint with the Clippers, he managed to show signs of his old self, reminding the league of his playmaking and scoring, but the questions remained. Would he sustain that level of performance? Could he fit into a winning team without upsetting team dynamics? Most importantly, was he still worth the gamble for a contending franchise? So, when the Denver Nuggets added him to their roster led by a quiet but mighty Nikola Jokic. Eyebrows raised. After all, the Nuggets just won the championship and had a fantastic system revolving around Jokic's brilliance. So why would they take a risk on a player who had public struggles recently? Jokic had, however, seen something that others had not. To him, Westbrook wasn't just flawed, he was untapped potential lying in wait for the right situation. In a league so quick to write off players, Jokic's belief in Westbrook stood out as a testament to his understanding of the game and of people. But why on earth had Jokic chosen Westbrook above all the many other players who were available? What did he see differently from everyone else? It was more than a basketball decision. It was a calculated risk that cried out for Jokic's confidence in his own leadership and in Denver's culture. To understand that, you have to dig more into their dynamic and what made Jokic feel that Westbrook might still be able to shine in ways he hadn't in years. Nikola Jokic is not just a superstar, he is a basketball genius, one of the greatest minds in the sport. He is set apart by the gift of reading the game, predicting moves, and creating a place for all of his teammates. His game is largely selfless, an understanding of how to best elevate a teammate. Obviously, he has an individual brilliance, and by which he preserves, most players spark their setting on their own. However, Jokic, as a role, celebrates every effort by making others shine. This is very much probably the concept he had about something concerning Russell Westbrook that others did not. While many view Westbrook as a fading star, Jokic saw in it a possibility to draw the same energy and dynamism that had once made Westbrook an MVP. While the old cracks were often cited by critics, his three-point shooting became less accurate, too ball-dominant, and of course age. Jokic didn't center on those things. Rather, he was likely thinking of the potential for Westbrook to flourish in a movement, trust, unselfish-oriented system. He knew that Westbrook's tireless willpower and fighting spirit could bring a dimension to the rotation in Denver that wasn't there. But Jokic's interest in Westbrook wasn't purely about basketball. It was about redemption. Westbrook had become a polarizing figure in the NBA, with years of criticism tarnishing his once stellar reputation. From being hailed as a triple-double king to being labeled as washed and unplayable, Westbrook's career had taken a turbulent turn. By advocating for his addition to the Nuggets, Jokic wasn't just making a roster move, he was giving Westbrook an opportunity to rewrite his story. It became very apparent very early in the season that Jokic's faith in Westbrook was quite justified. In all actuality, a revitalized performance by the veteran improved his role adaptation, and those above himself in energy, leadership, and competition even seemed to rejuvenate the Nuggets. More importantly, he was into the way the system was built in Denver, offering results he had never imagined flourishing on. His presence was more than about making Westbrook better. It was enabling the atmosphere in which his strengths could thrive. For Westbrook, no longer had to shoulder the burden of a team on him, nor be subjected to critical judgment. Instead, he became part of a cohesive unit whereby his effort and experience counted. Together, Jokic and Westbrook started proving that sometimes all it takes is a leader that believes in you and a system designed for collective success to revive a career. Through the first stretch of games, Russell Westbrook has shown glimpses of his past brilliance. Shoots the ball at a 50% clip for an average of 18 points and 6 assists per game while playing alongside Nikola Jokic. Even more astoundingly, the Nuggets are 10-0 in games when Westbrook reaches 10 or more assists. This shows that he prospers as a second playmaker and readily urbanizes into an unselfish Denver system. Perhaps the most surprising aspect of Westbrook's revival has been the way in which he has improved his shooting. Having been labeled a streaky shooter, he has, therefore, outstripped expectations this season with a three-point percentage better than some of the elite in the game. Most of which could probably be attributed to the extraordinary view that Jokic has on the court. The wide-open looks created by Jokic for his teammates have given Westbrook the confidence and rhythm needed to hit shots consistently, diminishing the number of forced contested looks, allowing him to focus on taking good shots, thus improving offensive efficiency. On the defensive end, Westbrook is just as difficult to stop. While his athleticism may have deteriorated since then, his energy and determination have remained unchanged. He is capable of game-saving steals, as in the case of the one made against the Lakers, reminder of the stubbornness he had to rank up as one of the fiercest competitors in the league. Such timeliness exposes his ability to influence both ends of the floor, cementing the argument that even at his age, he has a lot left to offer. At the same time, Jokic's leadership and playmaking would enable Westbrook to adapt and flourish in ways many felt he could not. Together, they have created an amazing tandem that not only rejuvenates Westbrook's career, but also brings the Nuggets back into the contenders' conversation. It's a reminder that, in the right system, even the most doubted players can shine. Denver's offense has long revolved around the brilliance of Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. However, they have had some serious gaping holes left by the others, Bruce Brown and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, in perimeter shooting and defensive versatility. On paper, Russell Westbrook dusts off much of the oddness into which these gaps might seem to fit. He is a streaky shooter and ball-dominant, making many doubt whether he will actually fit into this seamless, pass-heavy, and unselfish offense of Denver. Then, against all odds, Westbrook creates an even bigger mouthful for his critics. Rather than disrupting the well-oiled whirlybird machine for which the Nuggets have a name, he has accepted a much complementary role involving maximizing energy and unique skill set. Rather than thrusting into his offense, Westbrook has cut into the basket, pushed the pace in transition, and shouldered some heavy defensive assignments. His unyielding compete and leadership roles carry the fire into Denver's rotation park, giving it the not-so-acquired edge. Most of this is credited to the sight and versatility of Jokic. The reigning MVP is unusually skilled in elevating other athletes, and there is no exception for Westbrook. The cuts, as Jokic can foresee them, lead into easy baskets, and this is where Westbrook thrives, using the slashing technique. By getting Westbrook to sprint for easy baskets, Jokic allows his subject to capitalize on strengths rather than point out limitations. In return, Westbrook has willingly adjusted his game, stepping down from being a ball-dominant player to take the role of a secondary playmaker and energizer. His ability to play at a breakneck pace not only has another dimension added to Denver's transition attack, but also keeps opponents on their toes. Despite Westbrook's shooting concern, the willingness to cascade into the system and Jokic's ability to maximize his strength have proved to be a successful blend of abstract pairing, as both have shown that an unorthodox pairing can work once they're willing to adapt and embrace their roles. What appeared at first to be a gamble is quickly becoming one of the most intriguing storylines of the Denver season. The encouraging performance by Westbrook in Denver has opened doors to revived discussions concerning what his role might be moving forward. This would be examined together with the most crucial test that lies ahead owing to Jamal Murray's return. Murray, the Nuggets' second productive star and primary ball handler, will simply change his role within the team. Hence, with the arrival of Murray, it is likely that Westbrook will utilize the second unit, which means fewer minutes on the court and reduced ball handling for him. Considering the history of a player like Westbrook, whose utilization and rhythm have defined his career, an adjustment like this may be decisive. Westbrook has not done well in the past in adapting to lesser roles. His stints with the Lakers and Rockets were especially difficult, leaving him unable to find any form without the ball. His initial showing, though, suggests that he might not get this one under Denver. Instead of trying to push his game or control the whole setup of the team, Westbrook has taken to make a transition into the mold of an energy and defensive point guard, playing efficiently but creating gaps in the team. Jokic's importance in this initiative cannot be underestimated. No one else can take such a heavy toll on his opponents and still lift them into another level other than the reigning MVP. Jokic's basketball IQ and altruism have made Westbrook flourish in ways we previously did not see. Whether it is for Westbrook on a backdoor cut or for an open mid-range shot, there is Jokic setting those up. These plays would play to Westbrook's strengths and serve to make him more efficient than he has been in a long time. Consequently, the explosive nature of the old player came back. He averages 18 points and 6 assists on a remarkably high 50% shooting. Most importantly, however, his newfound energy and competitive heart have helped fill voids in the Denver roster. The departures of Bruce Brown and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope left, the Nuggets were in dire need of a player who could bring pace and intensity, especially in transition. Westbrook's relentless approach has favored this team, especially against the opponents who cannot keep pace with the speed of Denver. Defensive skills are also seen from Westbrook. Plays like his game-saving steal against the Lakers serve as reminders of his ability to change the game on both ends of the court. Although he may not exhibit the same athletic abilities as he did in his younger years, his instincts and determination remain intact. Of course, shooting issues remain at the forefront for him. Three-point shooting has been historically a liability for Westbrook. However, in playing next to Jokic, it has opened wide looks, which he has somehow capitalized on at a surprising rate. If he can manage to carry this form into the future, it will seal his status as even a diminished contributor. Jokic saw joining Westbrook to Denver as an intelligent move beyond a basketball call, but a risk well calculated in faith. He saw an opportunity in Denver for an exemplary star to reform, change, and prove he has something left in him at the top of his game. For Westbrook, this season is more than just yet another chapter in his career. It can set the course of it. It's an opportunity for rewriting his narrative and silencing everyone saying his day at the NBA as an impactful player is done. Given the trust from Jokic and the welcoming environment of Denver, there is every reason to believe that Westbrook can thrive in that adjustment. So, can Russell Westbrook help the Nuggets win another championship? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, Nikola Jokic's faith in him has already started to pay off. What do you think? Can Westbrook sustain this resurgence and cement his place in Denver's rotation? Let us know in the comments.